soul ties, and things that we're all dealing. We're all dealing with a bunch of junk. Like I said, that there's so much contamination in this world that I don't know how anyone does it without any kind of deliverance or healing. I don't understand how anyone can make it through it. Sin is so prevalent. I want to speak about the internet. A lot of you, we're looking at portals of sin, and we're going to be talking the occult. And Satan always is looking for that loophole, so that's what he does in soul ties and unholy alliances. He's looking for that portal into your home. And one of those big portals for our family was the internet. And we have to understand that the internet is not a holy place, it's a neutral place, but if unholy people are trying to infiltrate your house and your home and penetrate your family 24/7, they don't rest, demons don't sleep, and if we're not protecting ourselves, then we're being infiltrated. Right? If we're not aware that there could be crossovers, I've dealt with different exorcists and different people who had gifts. I have a deacon friend over in Georgia who works with Father Jim. He has a special gift. I don't envy his gift, but he has a very special gift. He's very sensitive. And what happens is when he comes in contact with something that's a portal, he throws up. That's how sensitive he is. I'm going to move this over here. He throws up. So he carries a bowl with him. We send him in first, and we wait, and we listen. Good so far, Father. Oh, wait, we got one. Oh. Yeah, he went to this whole house, and it was a very holy family, and everything was really holy in the whole house. And then he went into the basement where the 17-year-old daughter lived, and she had a big, huge screen TV. And as soon as he crossed the TV, he threw up. And he said, "What's going on here?" And it wasn't really like she was doing pornography. What she was dabbling with was horror movies. She loved horror movies. She loved the thrill of being afraid, and it was a portal. It became a portal of fear that was entering the house. And even after the TV was shut down, it was still emanating, right? Because it became a portal of evil. So we're going to talk about the occult. We're going to talk about, and I don't want any people to be afraid. I'm not doing this to be afraid or to give, Satan and his little army any more credit than they deserve. Satan is like a chained dog, right? And he can't hurt you unless you get really close and you intermingle yourself with the dog, and then he can bite you. And a lot of times Satan will let you come in really close and he won't bother you until you're really, really in the doghouse. And you're like, wow, it's really nice in here. You got, yeah, and he's just waiting for you to want to get out. And then when you try to get out, that's where he takes advantage of you. So, Talon, if you could come up and help us with the slides, that would be awesome. Let's give a big hand to Talon. Talon and Ignatius seen way too much to be afraid. I say the biggest cure for being afraid is to actually maybe see an exorcism from beginning to end and see how that process goes, because it's a victory. If you saw more exorcism, you would realize that Satan is a wuss, and that he is not powerful. And that in the end, he goes away like a screaming little girl. He throws a fit. In fact, when Joy and I are praying in deliverance ministry, and we're praying, and the demon starts to manifest, it's a good sign that he's losing. So if you've been here, a lot of you have seen manifestations here When people were praying, when Father Blunt was just here, and you saw, maybe some of you, if you witnessed Joy and I and Father in battle, I mean, I really wish that wasn't in front of everybody, but, God let you see that for a reason, so you could see a victory. Because everyone who came in here last month who had deliverance issues were delivered in Jesus' name. Because Satan has no power over Jesus. And Jesus can set you free. We need to know that. We need to experience that. We need to see that. And if you saw what I saw, you wouldn't be afraid. You'd be encouraged. You wouldn't be afraid anymore. But the thing is that he is out there, and he wants to. The reason why the occult is so unseen is because it actually comes from the Greek word occultus, which means hidden. It is actually something that is invisible but right there in front of you. So when I'm going to bring some of these stuff up, you're going to say, wow, that was always there. And I never noticed it. And Satan doesn't want you to notice it or bring it to confession, because if you do, he loses his leverage, his legal right over you. So he remains hidden in little compromises that we would call not a big deal. Oh, I didn't mean it. Oh, I didn't understand. He's counting on you that you didn't mean it. He's counting on you not to understand, because you wouldn't have tied yourself to the dog if you knew the ramifications of your actions. So he's actually counting on your ignorance. He's counting on that you don't get it, because that still means he has a legal right. So a lot of times people say, well, I did it, but I really didn't understand what I was doing. And says, I don't care. I don't care. One person who had a demonic tattoo because it was cool. And they were inflicted with a lot of sickness and a lot of things that were happening to them that was not natural. We call it preternatural. It was not natural. And it resulted from a tattoo that they had no idea. Does Satan care if you don't know? He doesn't care. He's like, they got my mark. They got my mark. So it's in our ignorance that we suffer. So we're going to bring those things to light. And a lot of this is like, I wish Talon was here. He could do there's this thing that I love doing. I just love. When you see this, you're going to just like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Okay, does anybody know the FedEx symbol? Do you remember the FedEx symbol? It's spelled FedEx. And like half of you will see it, the other half won't. But there's an arrow pointing in one direction in the word FedEx. So it's between the X and the... It's white. It's the negative. Do we have that talent? He's trying to get it. But if you can imagine the FedEx symbol, there's an invisible arrow pointing one direction. And if you never saw it before, it took me like maybe 2 hours to see this, right? So do you see the arrow between the E and the X? Did you ever know? Everyone who never saw that before, raise your hand. Okay, that's most of you never saw that before, and it was always, always, always there. That's the occult. That is like the occult. Now, when we were doing the deliverance prayers, this woman was waving her hand in the back, and she said, can you tell me what was demonic about FedEx again? Because I really use it every day. So she missed the whole point, so I thought that I would make a point to say that FedEx was not demonic. It's just a hidden symbol inside that you never would know. And that's why we're talking about the occult. Because the occult, you'll find out after this conversation that there are things in our life that we just accepted as normal, but they've always been there. in our ignorance, they've always been there, and we've been using these things, and we have to renounce them. So on your fourth sheet of paper, you're going to be writing down any of these things that you had contact with. Okay? So I don't want anyone to put FedEx on their paper, right? Too late. Dr. Vic says it's too late. Okay. Okay, can we go to that first slide? Talon, can we go to the first slide? Talon's trying to fix something. Okay, so I'd like to do this now. Now, I'm going to say, let me read that.